So there's different types of printmaking, and it's different from a lot of the other art forms in terms of it not being an original in a sense. You have multiples in an edition. Sometimes you only have one, a monoprint. But the idea, or monotype here, but what you're doing is you're working on a piece of wood or a piece of stone or metal or in some cases linoleum, and you're putting the artwork on that thing, on that matrix, which is that's word right here. The matrix is the thing that you're putting the artwork on. Then you put the ink on that, and then you put that through the printer with the paper, and the press does the ink releases onto the paper through the printing press, and it's a backward image on the matrix, and then it comes out right side, looking right. Okay, so there's a relief process. I'm gonna let you go over these terms on your own, but basically the matrix is this surface, right? It's this plate. This is a side view of like a little piece of, in this case, let's call this wood or linoleum. And in wood or linoleum, it's like a rubber stamp. The ink is on the top. And actually, in terms of rubber, it's similar to linoleum, like a rubber stamp. It's very similar. And it's like a dirty shoe. Think about a dirty shoe with stepping on a white piece of paper. That's what you have. You have the relief of the tread. So that is a relief print. That is going to be linoleum and woodcut. Okay, intaglio is here. So there's a couple different types of intaglio. We'll get into that. Intaglio is where the ink is in the lower areas. Now you can imagine the pressure on the printing press as it goes through is going to be not as hard on this piece as it would be on this. Some of the relief print processes, you don't need a press. You don't need that much pressure to get the ink to get onto the paper evenly. But with an intaglio situation, you really have to smush that right into that paper so that these little ink recesses get into the paper. It's hard to explain. Lithography, it's basically the non-image area is going to be waxy. Okay, there's like a resist. This is so thin, and if you run your fingers over it, you can't even really feel the image. It's so thin. And this is a giant stone. It's so crazy. I just went to a lithography place today. Super interesting process. But what you do is you're putting you're drawing onto the stone. You're drawing the not part of the apple, not the apple. You're drawing the all parts around it. Then you put the ink in the middle, and then the paper gets put through a press. There's a lot more detail to that, but that's the basics. The last thing in here is screen printing, and this is a mesh. This is like a, think about like a screen door, and then this part gets blocked out, like you put glue into a spring screen door, and then you squeegee the ink